Welcome back to another episode of the Artist Access. I'm your host, Siraj Ra-King, my Powakanan Hotep, and I am here with one of the phenomenal poets in H-Town. I'm talking about the brother I've seen perform several occasions. I finally got to sit down and chat with him. We have none other than the Fluent One.
Nice
What's up, King?
Nice to be on stage. Nice to listen to you open up.
Appreciate
you. Know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
Love what you guys are doing here. So
yeah. How you been doing, man?
Man, busy.
Busy, huh?
Busy with work, busy with art, busy with living. So stay busy.
We gotta stay busy, man. But so why I got you here, bro? I want you to take us back to the beginning of your whole journey as being a poet. And first of all, are you from the H-Town? Are you from here?
I was raised here, so I claim Houston, right?
Okay.
So I came down here when I was 5, so pretty much, 34
from where?
years.
Where you came from?
Boston.
Boston?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So my parents went to school in Boston and met while they was at church. Ended up staying there, got married, and had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. Dad got a job that brought him down to Houston, so that's how we ended up down here back in 1989. So I raised out here in Clear Lake. Okay. Went to Clear Lake High, went to Prairie View for college. Yeah. And while I was at Prairie View, I was DJing, was already working for NASA, and I was doing an event for the Student Center where they wanted me to DJ. And then they picked up one of the poets who already had his own show, Outspoken Being, and they wanted him to host it. Okay. So he was mad because they wouldn't do their student event on the same night that he normally would host his weekly open mic. Right. He's like, all right, well, you still got to pay me, and I'm going to promote my show the whole time. And the funny thing about me and him and our friendship was how we butted heads, because that was the exact day that Kanye West's graduation album dropped. Okay. That's how I remember everything, right? Yeah. And so as a DJ, I had like the singles before they dropped from like the record pools and stuff like that, right? So I got like all the main hit singles that they trying to promote for the album. Right. And I'm working at the time, so I ain't actually gone and bought the CD. Mm-hmm. So we show up, he already bought the CD, he listened to it, he want like the intro track, Good Morning. Yeah. And I was like, I ain't got Good Morning. He was like, whack DJ. Hey, look, we ain't messing with this DJ. And I was like, I'm cutting your mic. And so like that kind of like rivalry is how I got into poetry, because I heard a whole bunch of poems going on that night. What? And I was like, nah, that can't be right. Just a lot of women who were frustrated with college boys at the time, right? Okay. So then when I went to his show the next week, I heard a lot of the same kind of poems. I was like, nah, I gotta write a response. I can show that men know how to be romantic, and sexy, and seductive, and I didn't know what I was writing.
So hold on. So you telling me your poetry career started in college?
Yep.
Wow, because bro, the way you perform and do your thing, it's like you've been doing this shit. Like a lot of people was telling me when I asked them that question, I started doing poetry when I was about 8 years old, 9 years old.
Yep.
I'm thinking you was that old with it. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, mind you, I also used to dance.
Okay.
Right?
I want to ask you that too. When you be performing, I be seeing it, little pop like and stuff coming out a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So that, like, dancing out in the clubs, doing like Houston had like a big battle scene for a while, and even like to this day, like. For example, like breakdancing is going to be in the Olympics in Paris, right? One of the international breakdancers that is facilitating the rules and the judging and the formats and everything that's going for the Olympics is based here in Houston. Like that's how big like the dance scene is like in the city. And I was never at that level, but just being somebody who is interested and kind of like being around, a lot of that feeds into what the established idea of how to control and interpret my body movements turned into performance. I feel you. Like it was something that was learned and then a skill set that was brought in, Yeah.
I feel you, because when I be doing my thing, I move to my words. My body's doing what my words is, the rhythm of the poem. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I seen you do the same thing. I said I bet he used to pop like. Yeah, because I see it. You know what I'm talking about?
Man, one of my favorite poems to perform. I got into poetry primarily like through competition with slam, and it never slammed and scored well, but I love doing it. There's an older dancer in Houston used to be at like a lot of the clubs that had closed down, like Drink Houston or like Metropolis and places like that. He was an older guy, and he was just known for constantly dancing like the whole night, right? And one time I was out at Drink Houston, and I'm just looking around the crowd, and everybody's just sitting there on their phone, and there's just one guy out on the floor dancing the whole night by himself. And if somebody walked by him, he might dance and grab him, dance for a little bit. And I just started writing a poem about him on my phone, just watching this guy like go. Then when I started performing it, that's the one poem where I actually get to hit all the little things, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's inspired by real dancing, but it's like it gives me the opportunity to actually hit like the same kind of like feelings and incorporate the two worlds together.
Man, so you started writing poetry in college, which was about how long ago you would say?
Man, that was 16 years ago.
16 years ago. Wow. Okay.
That was like as I was leaving college.
Okay. Man, so your very first poems, what you were talking about when you first started writing poems?
Absolutely
nothing. Because you could, like, when I hear you speak, you talk some very profound stuff when I hear you speak. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah.
When I started, it was absolutely nothing because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
Like my same best friend, he was starting a collegiate slam team at Prairie View, primarily just as a point to get back at the girl he was sleeping with at the time, which is hilarious. He's like, she had a team. He's like, well, I could set up a team. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And he came up to me after I did my little response piece. He was like, hey, I'm putting this team together next week. So do a 30-second poem and a 1-minute poem. And if you make the team, cool. I ended up making the team, but then when we had our first practice, like you said, other people been writing since they was 8 years old, right? Or I've been doing this and out on the open mic scene. We at the poetry practice, and I'm on Wikipedia looking up poetry. Like, man, maybe I should have paid attention to English class, right? What is alliteration? Like, I'm really just typing in like all these things. So my first set of poems, and one of the things I'm real grateful for to him as a coach was every week he wanted us writing something new. So within a 1-week time span, we had a new poem written, edited, memorized, and performed at a weekly show that had like 200 people every week. Like that's how thick Jasmine's Cafe was at Prairie View. So that escalation of growth was kind of forced on me because the first couple of poems were just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to experiment with writing an entire stanza using only E words. Or you know, like little, I wrote about trying to holler at a girl in a phone party. It was very bad. It was a lot of bad poetry at that time. But then as I was around the team and on the team and starting to travel with the group, we were visiting other colleges and competing, and I start to see a little bit of diversity. We were hitting the Houston open mic scene. The very same week that I made the team, we went and performed at the Poetry Lounge when it was still at the Shadow Bar downtown. And just being able to see like what the city was providing and was expecting, because it wasn't a world that I had tapped into before. And so that constant exposure is what kind of developed and fostered that continuous effort of growth. Because it wasn't just like, okay, well, I'm good. No, I had no talent whatsoever to write on. I had to develop everything intentionally. I had to go and start reading a lot of poets. I had to start looking up poets, and I wanted to see, all right, well, if we're doing this from a competitive standpoint, then who were the winners? So I started looking up like, who was winning these national competitions, who was winning these collegiate competitions, who were the best, quote, poets, and then what do I like about them, and then how do I develop my own style from that?